Welcome back to The Explainer. So glad you're joining us because today we're tearing into what's probably the most hyped tech release of the entire year, the brand new Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra. Now, Samsung's marketing team is going all out, throwing around these super futuristic buzzwords like built-in privacy display and agentic AI. But hey, we know better than to just swallow the marketing whole, right? We're going to take those high-flying claims and stack them right up against the actual verified reality of people who've paid their own money for this thing. So let's just get right into it.
Okay, first things first. Just look at that number, 1,30,999 rupees. And remember, that is just the starting price for the base 12GB RAM, 256GB storage model. I wanted to bring this up right out of the gate because it completely sets the stakes here. We aren't just talking about a phone. We are talking about a massive, ultra-premium investment. And honestly, when you're dropping that kind of cash, the device literally has to be flawless. It has to deliver. There is absolutely zero room for error.
So moving into Section 1, meet the S26 Ultra. What exactly are you paying for? Well, when that premium package finally arrives and you pop open the box, things are pretty minimal. You get the smartphone itself, a standard Type-C to C data cable, the iconic S Pen, of course, a SIM ejection pin, and a quick start guide. And yeah, that's the whole shebang. It's really worth pointing out what isn't in there: a power adapter. It's the industry standard now, sure, but it means you're going to be spending even more on a charging brick if you actually want to hit those maximum charging speeds we're going to talk about in a minute.
All right, Section 2, the new privacy display. Let's decode the marketing jargon. So Samsung is pushing this built-in privacy display really hard, calling it a world first for mobile. But what does that actually mean for us? Basically, it's a new layer of privacy with these customizable settings that physically shield your screen from wandering eyes. You pair that with their defense-grade Knox security, and the pitch is that you can be on a crowded train or working in a busy cafe or making a quick payment on Samsung Wallet, and nobody next to you can snoop on your screen. Sounds like a total game changer on paper, right? But definitely keep this specific feature in the back of your mind. We are going to see how it actually holds up in the real world very shortly.
Let's shift gears to the software. Section 3, agentic AI, the brains of the operation.
Now, the key takeaway here is that Samsung isn't just slapping the word AI on this as a gimmick. It's actually baked right into the core of their new One UI 8.5 software. They're calling it the Agentic AI experience. The idea is that it's adaptive and super intuitive. For example, there's this feature called Now Nudge that gives you real-time suggestions to literally reduce the number of taps it takes to do things. Plus, there's a Finder tool on the home screen to help you track down whatever you need with just one quick search. The ultimate goal? Simplifying your life, so you spend way less time tapping around and more time actually getting stuff done.
But listen, to run all that advanced AI in the background, you need some serious horsepower under the hood, and this thing delivers. It's rocking the customized Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 processor, clocking in at a crazy fast 4.74 GHz, backed by 12 gigs of RAM. You're interacting with all this on a massive, gorgeous 6.9-inch 120Hz AMOLED display. Oh, and if you're into heavy gaming, Samsung threw in a newly designed vapor chamber to actively manage the heat so you can play longer without the phone sweating it.
Of course, keeping all those powerhouse specs running takes a lot of juice. The S26 Ultra packs a massive 5,000 mAh battery. When you eventually need to top it off, you've got two main routes. If you're plugging in, you get super fast charging 3.0, which hits up to 60 watt speeds. Or if you're all about convenience, there's super fast wireless charging at 25 watts, meaning even in the middle of a chaotic workday, you can get a massive power boost incredibly fast, assuming, you actually bought that charging adapter we talked about earlier.
You can't talk about an Ultra phone without talking about the cameras. Section 4, the 200-megapixel camera system, Pixel Power. For a lot of you out there, I know this is the main event. You are getting an absolutely massive 200-megapixel high-resolution camera. Samsung is promising their brightest camera system ever with enhanced noise reduction that makes night videos look crisp and clear. But honestly, the hardware is only half the story nowadays. The AI tools are front and center here too. With Photo Assist, you can do pro-level edits with zero experience, or use Creative Studio to generate your own personalized stickers with a single tap. It's an entire ecosystem designed to make high-end editing totally effortless. Okay, so we've seen the glossy marketing and the spec sheets, but what actually happens when real people start using it? Section 5, Real User Reviews, the reality check. First up, let's look at the big picture. Looking at a sample of 128 global ratings from verified buyers, the phone holds a super impressive 4.6 out of 5-star average. If we break that down, a whopping 81% of buyers gave it a flawless 5 stars, and another 10% gave it 4 stars.
So right off the bat, we can say for sure that the vast majority of people are absolutely loving this device. But you know me, I want to know about that vocal minority. What are the specific trade-offs people are dealing with?
And this is where things get really interesting. When we dig into the specific complaints and praises, a really clear divide opens up. On the good side, people are raving about that crisp 6.9-inch display. They love the lightning-fast UI with zero lag, they're getting a solid 6 hours of screen-on time, and the low-light camera is a huge hit. But, looking over at the bad column, well, despite that fancy new vapor chamber we mentioned, some folks are reporting noticeable heating issues. On top of that, a few buyers are saying the newly thinned-down S Pen feels pretty flimsy. And yeah, no surprise here, that astronomical price tag is a major sticking point.
Let's actually ground this with a specific review. This comes from verified buyer Sarv Sarkar, who gave it 4 stars. Remember that heavily marketed privacy display? Well, Sarv points out a pretty massive catch. He writes that the brightness reduces by almost 50% when switched to maximum privacy mode. 50%. That is huge. He also backs up the complaints about the build, saying the S Pen feels flimsy and prone to break. And maybe most concerning, he says the phone started heating even with 15 minutes of browsing. This right here is exactly why we do these reality checks. Yes, the privacy screen works, but it literally costs you half your screen's brightness, and that thermal management might not be quite as perfect as the spec sheet implies. Actually, to be fair, we really need to balance that out because, remember, the overwhelming majority of buyers are thrilled. Just look at this 5-star review from Piyush Chaudhry. He calls the S26 Ultra a refined, grown-up flagship. He loves that it's thinner and lighter this year, and specifically calls out this smooth, punchy display, improved low-light cameras, and rock-steady video stabilization. So for users like Piyush, those core daily features, the speed, the screen, the cameras, are executed so flawlessly that it totally justifies the upgrade. Which brings us to the end of this explainer and leaves us with one incredibly important question. Is ultimate privacy and AI actually worth the ultimate price? Look, there is no denying the Galaxy S26 Ultra packs an incredible amount of power. You've got a massive 200-megapixel camera and genuinely helpful AI tools wrapped in a gorgeous package. But as we just seen from real users, features like that privacy display come with some pretty heavy compromises to your brightness. And the phone certainly isn't immune to heating up. So if you're eyeing this as your next upgrade, you really have to weigh those cutting-edge features against that jaw-dropping 1 lakh 30,000 rupee price tag. I hope this gave you the real-world clarity you need to make up your own mind. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next one.